scratches. All right, it's happening yet? There it goes. Woo! Hello, everybody. Welcome. It's Monday. Everything's still going to pot. Let's see here. GME news. It appears that the XRT ETF suddenly had like 3.5 million new shares appear today, and they hammered GME down a good amount, below 27 for the first time in a while. That does not mean that things aren't going to get spicy still. Let's see here. Implied volatility is up. Interesting. So we dropped the dollar, and implied volatility went from 39% to 49% for at the money. Maybe they know something's up, coming up. There is going to be an XRT rebalance of sorts coming in, June? There is T35s, because they're shorted to the 5,000% or something ridiculous like that. So there may be some sort of forced buying happen. It looks like the big numbers are still for this week at the 30s, and for next week are at the 30s. The 30s are the big ones. Still nothing in that number range we'd expect to see out of someone like Roaring Kitty. There's 26,000 open contracts at the $30 range for next week. That's nothing compared to the 70 or 120,000 or whatever it was ridiculousness of last year at this time. So I don't know if we'll see the boom like we saw last time, unless Roaring Kitty comes out tweeting again. We'll see. But something to keep your eye on. Donald Trump apparently was talking with John Voight, who is kind of an asshole, but talking to John Voight, and all of a sudden Donald Trump wants to do two things. He wants to reopen Alcatraz as a federal prison because I'm not really sure why. It's an incredibly awful, inefficient way to have prisons. Island prisons are expensive and inefficient. Purely from a punitive standpoint, like you're trapped on this island, you can't leave. That's kind of like a psychological torture, but from practical steps, it can house a few hundred prisoners. They'll cost $300 million to $1 billion to rehab, and will cost upwards of $200,000 plus per prisoner per year. It's just not a very cost-effective thing to do. It's dumb. Also, he wants to impose a 100% tariff on any foreign film productions, which, let's face it, the most film production now is foreign. For a couple of reasons. One, it's a lot cheaper. Got cheap labor overseas. Two, tax credits. Other nations offer fantastic tax credits for making films. So look at Canada. They got federal tax credits. They also have individual provinces offer tax credits. When I've been in meetings with TV production guys, they're doing wizardry. That's what they do is, TV producers do two things. One, they get the people together to make the production. And two, they figure out where it's going to get made, edited, sound, blah, blah, blah. They might film the show in British Columbia because they get a 35% tax credit off the bat. They will do post-production sound in Quebec because they'll get a 90% tax credit on sound in Quebec. Then they'll do the editing in Winnipeg, where they'll get like an 80% tax credit. And if you spend $10 million on the production of a show, you might end up getting back $10 million or $15 million. So you might get back more than what you put into it based on the tax credits alone that you spend doing these productions everywhere. In the United States, we have tax credits in individual states. You'll see lots of productions in Alaska because there's big tax credits in Alaska. You'll see waves of shows happen in certain states. So like Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, and what was that other one about the U.S. Marshals? They're all filmed in New Mexico around the same era because New Mexico had passed this big tax credit. And then you'll see shows all of a sudden popping up in Georgia. Lots of things being made in Georgia. They build big studios in Georgia. Tyler Perry has this big giant fake town there. They all these productions, but it looks like the Georgia tax credits are kind of lightening up, and everyone's moving, Marvel production from Atlanta to London, right? They're filming shows in Sydney. They're filming shows in South Africa. They're filming them in Eastern Europe, like, going to Bucharest or whatever. Like the deals can be made, and they will make it like it's America, but it's actually Bulgaria or something. So what we can do, rather than doing these 100% tariffs, is we offer tax credits, art-based tax credits through NEA grants, etc., federally to bring production back to the United States. Trump is like, oh, they're going to our national security, or we need our film industry here. What's going to happen is like anyone else looking at the numbers, they go, okay, there's 300 million American eyeballs to watch the movies. There's 8 billion foreign eyeballs to watch movies. We don't need the American market anymore. So that's what's going to happen, is they're just going to ignore the American market, and we'll have like telenovela quality productions happening here in the United States that focus only on the American market and have no appeal outside the rest of the world, because there'll be retaliatory tariffs. There will be boycotts of American productions. It's going to be like everything else happening in this country. There are apps available in almost every country we've hit with a tariff now, where people point out a product and it tells them if it's made in America or not. If it's made in America, they put it back on the shelf and buy the alternative. We are like, we just need to make more stuff here. Like, okay. And then we have no export market. So there's no possibility for growth for any of the stuff we make here because we pissed everybody off. Stop pissing people off. Do folks not understand that if you piss everyone else off so much, they want nothing to do with you anymore? And then you're alone. And then you're like Donald Trump, where you have no real friends. You're just alone. Your children fear you, but they don't like you. Your wife fears you, but she doesn't like you. Your international neighbors fear you, but they don't like you. And you're just not going to find any sort of kinship, friendship, bond, brotherhood, sisterhood, anything else. Like, there's no camaraderie in being an asshole that everybody rejects. And we are on the receiving end of all of that, and we deserve it. We deserve every little bit of it. Carney called up Trump after his election and said, hey, let's have a meeting. And they asked Trump, what do you think the meeting's about? He's like, I hope it's to negotiate tariffs. I guarantee you it's not to negotiate tariffs. I guarantee you Carney's going to come in. He's like, look, I am the number one economist in the entire world. I'm the only person to run 2 central banks. No one else has ever done that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to sign exclusive trade deals with all of your enemies and all of your competitors. I am then going to dump $1 trillion of US bonds onto the market and collapse your entire fucking economy. Because if we're going down, I'm taking you with me, you piece of shit. And that's what he's going to tell him. And Trump's going to go, because he doesn't know how to operate when somebody has the upper hand on him. He doesn't. He will probably try to deny, but Carney's not going to fall for it, and he's not going to pussyfoot around. He's going to be like, fuck you. And Trump's like, whoa, I'll invade, make you fit for a state. And Carney will say, our exclusive deals will get your ass kicked out of NATO, and then you'll be dealing with the entire world. And half your population wanting to fuck you up. That's what, Carney's got the upper hand on this one. Japan has the upper hand on this one. China has the upper hand on this one. They all have the rest of the world suddenly wanting to band together against the United States. What a great position to be in. Woo! You can't really truly be a superpower if everybody hates your guts. Because then you have no allies. You have no one to take your back. You have no one you can even do proxy wars with at that point, because everybody thinks you're an asshole and they don't want anything to do with you. So I'm not really sure what the solution is, but I do think this is going to result in the further eroding of American film production compared to the rest of the world, because people will just not release movies in the United States at this point. So they'll make the movies overseas. They'll release them to 8 billion other people. We'll have to pirate them like little North Koreans, trying to, maybe someone will airdrop a USB full of movies that we can see. But yeah, kiss your AMC stock further goodbye, because you're gonna have a whole bunch of lame ass low budget films that no one wants to watch that'll be in the theaters, and yeah. Oh well. How about we just click on this thing and move on? Boop, boop. Oh, he's such a scratchy little fat cat. Yes, he is. Oh, never known a cat loves such a hard scratch as that guy does. Turn off your intro, Houston. Boom. Okay, it's Monday. Bring it on. What all did you find happening over the weekend? Deb Bass first. You were first. Deb Bass. Sunstone is on its way to get fasted in Thailand. Thanks for the info on the previous show. You're most welcome. I don't think with the Sunstone you have to worry too much about it not getting sent back. Although there may be a tariff charge you have to pay when it arrives. I'm not sure how that works. I haven't done it since all this tariff stuff has been slapped on. N9 says, yo. N9 says, well, rest in peace, GameStop Canada, apparently. Yeah, they're looking at selling off all the Canadian stores. I understand making a lean machine. I do. Like, you make a lean machine, you find the stores that make profits, etc. But at some point, right, you start to destroy your earnings. Like, you make money by selling people video games, software, collectibles, right, in stores. You've got some online presence, but the online presence is nothing compared to the in-store, you know, the impulse buys, the folks coming in, trading things in, etc. You make money by selling stuff to people out of stores. You close a bunch of stores, then you've eliminated people's ability to buy things from your stores. When I worked at the Art Institute, the corporate higher-ups were like, we need to save money, let's fire professors. And so they start laying professors off. And then they're like, whoa, our revenue is way down. Yeah, because your entire business model is you have a professor teach a course, and you sell that course to students. If you fire the professor, you're no longer selling the course to students because there's no one to teach that course, so you just lost all the money. We're talking, $20,000 a term for this stuff. They're taking 5 classes, so it's $4,000 or $5,000 a class, right? That's $4,000 or $5,000 a class per student. So you have 25 students in a room. That's $125,000 or so, $100 to $125,000 for that one class, and you're paying the teacher $400 a week, right? So basically, 1 student pays for the teacher, 2 students pays for the building, 3 students pays for all the classified staff, and 4 students is profit. So anytime you have 4 students in a room, you're making $5,000 in profit a quarter off of that student. If you fire the teacher, you're paying for the room, you're paying for the classified staff, and you're not making any money. So you're losing $10,000 a quarter off of that. So yeah, you can sell off your Italian stores, and sell off your Canadian stores, all this stuff, and then everyone's going to see like, oh, revenue is way down. Huh. Like it's down like 50%. That's what they're going to see. When Bed Bath & Beyond, 2022, Bed Bath & Beyond, they had that crazy stock spike with Ryan Cohen when they made him hold 10%, and there's that stock spike and everything. And their solution was, hey, we're going to close 20% of our stores. And my response was, you're going to lose 20% of your revenue. And all these people are like, no, I think it's going to be a lean machine, man. And what ended up happening? Their revenue went down 19.9%. Why? Because their stores had very equal sales across the entire country. You were not making it a lean machine. You were not like, oh, it's a problem store, we're losing money here. They all made the same amount of money everywhere. So you just randomly closed 1/5 of your stores and then lost 1/5 of your revenue. So, no, like, yeah, GameStop in Canada is going to no longer be a thing. They'll call it like the Can-Am games. I don't know. But it's not a long-term solution. It's not wise business sense. It's not allowing you to expand and grow your brand. You're just shrinking. And you'll end up with some sort of holding company, and you're going to vote everything to what? Bitcoin? Cool. Woo! That's exciting. You're a holding company for some Bitcoin. All right. Well, now what cool news do you have for us? Or close even more stores. That's kind of, I think, where we're headed. Chris Taylor, 3D is the charm. Or the cham? No, this is charm. 3D is the charm? I don't even know what that means. Louis throwing some stickers. Louis says, hit the like button. Chris Taylor, how big will SMCI's miss be tomorrow? And will the delusion continue, or will they take a beating? Ooh, what are the projections here? Let's look. SMCI revenue or earnings estimates. Analyst ratings. We have it as you are Google Earth. We don't want Google Earth. We want to turn you off. I want the Chrome, which for some reason it makes me assign Chrome every single time I come in here, and it's really, really annoying. So there we go, Supermicro. Okay, why are you so small? What's up with that? That's not the right one. No, that's not at all. I selected Supermicro. There it is. There we go. Okay, all right. It's trying to give me the chat there. All right, so Supermicro, current quarter, analysts, okay, estimate, so saying 30 cents a share. Low estimate on was 29 cents a share, high estimate 30 cents. Year ago, 67 cents. Yeah, I think they're going to miss this by a lot. Because they don't own anything except for chips that are devaluing because they're old. And then they owe lots of interest on loans that they took out against those chips. So the analysts are saying that the stock price should go up to $48. They're still showing here that there's revenue versus earnings is high. It's been the billions, and the earnings are still in the hundreds of millions there. A lot of them have it at hold. A couple have it at buy. They don't even have it at sell. I want to know what the interest is on their loans and how many loans they have at this point. Interesting. 30 cents does seem high to me. Just based on the fact that all their chips are so old now, and they're still paying interest on the loans for all those chips, so they can buy more chips that they then take out loans. Well, I guess we'll see. 30 cents seems high to me. That seems quite high to me. Although being half of what it was last year also makes sense to me, but Jason Blackwell, Houston. I took my dog to the vet. The doctor looked at his chart and said, "It looks like Jason needs to cut back on the treats." I said that my dog's name is Jake. The doctor said, "I know." I was says, "What it do, baby?" I don't know. What does it do? Michael Hunn, 7th. Sold out. What are your thoughts on No Lab's 100% success rate on the pH sensor? Fantastic. That is something they can market now. Get devices out there now. Show some sales now. That's probably something they need to start doing. I say good. So it says also, would puts on Disney for earnings on Wednesday be a smart move with the flop movies and tourism reduction? Depends on, is Disney planning on doing any stock buybacks? Disney stock buybacks. For the insights, let's see here. So for the period ending December 30th, 2024, Disney has reported stock buybacks valued at $802 million. So I wouldn't doubt if, but December 9th, the board also cleared the way for $3 billion in share repurchases. So my guess is that Disney kind of knows what's coming, and they're going to do enough stock buybacks so that the numbers on their shares don't change. This is what Apple did. Apple had a steep decline in sales of their products, and they bought back so many billions of dollars worth of shares that actually looked like the earnings per share and stuff went up, even though what it really was the share count went down. So everyone's like, "Oh, well, the revenue is way down, but the earnings per share are the same." And I think Disney might be doing that with their $3 billion in purchases of shares. And then February last year, they added up to another $6 billion in capital returns to shareholders. Okay, so they got some cash that they might use to buy back shares to make sure that those earnings kind of look like they're normal. They may pass some sort of bill, some sort of approval to buy back even more. So keep your eyes on that. If it looks like the EPS is kind of the same, I meant they reduced the float a whole bunch by doing share buybacks. Kelly Reed, happy birthday, Jason. Warren Buffett retires, being 94. Don't blame him. Now I'll run for president. Berkshire also reported close to $400 billion cash on hand. This is going to be a huge crash. Yeah. What's funny is that Warren Buffett announced his retirement and the stock price fell like $50,000 almost instantly, as if the 94-year-old, there wasn't some sort of like retirement idea, or if he died, like they had some sort of contingency plan. There was a dude, and I talked about this before. The Facebook Wall Street Bets is the dumbest group of people in the entire world. Absolutely the biggest morons in human history you can find. Just it's like lights for a bug, gutter ball for humanity. They just find their way funneled into there, and they are so dumb. There was a dude bragging last week. He's like, it's only like the first time in 20 years as we had 9 straight days of gains on the SPY. Everyone knows Donald Trump's a genius. And I had to point out that the only times this has ever happened, when we've had this many days in a row where the SPYs had gains and net losses, was during a recession event. And that, just look at Warren Buffett and Berkshire Hathaway, and that they've got, $300 to $400 billion in cash on hand, and they are not buying the dip. So you'll know when the dip is in when those dudes start buying. But right now they're sitting on their cash, twiddling their thumbs, just waiting for the crash, because the crash has not happened yet. We had a little foreshock for the actual earthquake, but the real earthquake, that is yet to come. The ports news, right? There's 30% fewer ships coming from China right now. And on those ships is 30% fewer goods, which comes out to a drop in imports about 49% right now. And these are still pre-tariff goods. We have a 49% drop since Trump slapped the 145% tariffs on them. The ships arriving are ones that left port before the tariffs got imposed, so they're not going to get hit with these 145% tariffs. A couple of things are happening there. One, the ships aren't going to come after this, and if they do come, they're going to try to fill up all the bonded warehouses and places, because people don't want to pick up their goods. Because when you pick up the goods, that's when you're going to owe on the tariffs, right? So you'll pay whatever penalty you get for leaving things at the port for more than the 1 to 9 days you're allowed to leave them there. You'll face bonded warehouse space filling up with all sorts of goods. What you'll find is tons of ships going to Canada and Mexico and filling up ports and warehouses there, waiting to see what President Waffle Iron does on tariffs. And if perhaps those finally get cut, like, we're all done with tariffs, then they'll import them in from Canada and Mexico. You're seeing airlines take receipt of airplanes and then fly them internationally before ever bringing them in domestically. So they're avoiding the tariffs on those. So if you're Delta Airlines and you take receipt of an Airbus, A330 or something, you do a flight internationally with that plane. You fly it from France to Tokyo. And then all of a sudden it's a used plane, and then you can do domestic flights with it. So you're just going to find people avoiding these tariffs wherever they can. And that's not even considering the fact that we're going to have smuggling operations. We're going to find people illegally changing origins of things. You're going to see stuff get imported into like Vietnam or Malaysia that comes from China, rebadged, and then put on a ship and like, oh, it came from Malaysia. They're going to have a 10% tariff. There's going to be a lot of that. Which is what's going to happen is we're just not going to make the revenues we need. We're going to get charged those tariffs anyway by companies. Like how are you supposed to know? You order something from Amazon or someone else, and they tell, oh, it's 145% tariff, and whether they're paying a 10% tariff, they're just going to keep the rest, because that's the stuff they do. And then they're just going to jack the prices and everything else, because that's exactly what we saw happen during the inflation crisis from COVID, where they just raised the prices, and then the prices really didn't come back down again. it's anyway. I totally just fell off the rails there. Warren Buffett's retiring, and good for him. Good for you, Warren. I think you've got a close knit group of like 20 people who work with you day in day out in one of the most valuable companies in the entire world, and I think they understand the philosophy and they've learned from you. And I don't worry about them going like, "We want Bill Ackman," and just going crazy. Okay. And 9 predictions on the Trump-Carney meeting tomorrow. I think they'll try the Ukraine tactic and try to bully. I think Trump will try and Carney won't care. I think Trump will try to bully Carney and Carney will just be like, do whatever you want, dude. Your funeral. And if Trump can't bully someone, his response is, I don't want to say usually respect, but usually tries to play it cool. So if Carney tells him to his face to go fuck himself, Trump will probably play it cool because he'll be like, what does he know that I don't? Which is a lot. Carney knows a lot that Trump doesn't. I mean, did you see the interview with Trump and I don't know who that dude was, where Trump was trying to explain, like, yeah, it did MS-13 on his knuckles, talking about Kilmar Abrego Garcia. And it was just like, not even Photoshop. It was like somebody in Word typed MS-13 on his fingers. And the interviewer was like, no, that's not true. You're trying to tell me that he doesn't have MS-13 on his knuckles? He's like, yeah, it's a Photoshop. I mean, Trump is obviously a boomer who would fail the Uncanny Valley test every single time. Have you ever seen videos where like kids show video clips from Grand Theft Auto and to their like boomer grandmother? The grandmother's like, oh my God, I hope those people are okay. And it's like obviously a video game. That's what Trump would fall for. You can show him anything and he does not have the cognitive capacity to discern reality from fiction. So he's just going to believe whatever he wants to believe. And it could be drawn in crayon. He'd be like, that's evidence. So yeah, Carney's going to pull the wool over Trump's eyes and hopefully just like a bag over his head. But it should be interesting. I'll be curious to see the news comes out because I don't think Carney suffers fools very easily. And he's got enough gravitas and knowledge to come in with a game plan. And so if he demands this and Trump does this, he's already ready for it to just be like, we'll crash your bond market. The Fed spent $20 billion buying up bonds today, for the largest bond buy since quantitative tightening began and quantitative easing ended. $20 billion in bond buys, that is a drop in the bucket compared to what Japan, China, Canada, and other nations can do if they decide to just dump our bonds and crash our markets. I wouldn't doubt if there's people in the Trump administration currently shorting the US dollar, specifically hoping that's the response. They're like, I borrowed a whole bunch of money in US dollars and I put it into euros and now I'm just waiting for it to collapse and then I will buy back those US dollars with those euros and I'll have so many euros left over. That's basically, I think, what they're going for here. So, I mean, they did it. You had conservatives, Tories in the UK doing exactly that around the time of Brexit. They were shorting the British pound. And these are people who supported Brexit. Like, they don't care about you. They don't care about you at all. They don't care about bringing manufacturing back or doing. All they care about is making a quick buck off of your suffering, and they're going to be totally happy to do it. So, expect that. Expect the worst thing to happen. It's the easiest way to predict the future is you go, what would an asshole do in this situation? And then you figure that's what's going to happen. And that's exactly how an asshole behaves. And you're going to be right every single time. If there's an asshole involved in a decision, you choose what an asshole would choose. You're going to nail it. So, yeah. And I see Julius Miami says Taiwan is also about to dump treasury bonds. Yeah, why on earth would Taiwan hold on to U.S. treasury bonds and help the United States if they're going to get overrun by the Chinese anyway and we're not going to do anything about it, right? Like, what kind of loyalty you're going to show? Taiwan's going to be like, well, might as well dump this and maybe we'll help buy some European bonds and maybe they'll help us, or Japanese bonds and they'll help us. But yeah, I don't blame Taiwan. Every bad thing and slight and offhanded comment we're receiving from everyone, we deserve it. We did this to ourselves. Namely, Merrick Garland did this to all of us by having zero balls whatsoever and upholding the norms by not moving quickly. And now we've got, American citizens being deported, people with cancer being deported, U.S. veterans being deported, raids happening at the homes of people who have nothing to do with any of this crap happening. It's happening fast, man. It's happening fast. The one blessing I have is that the weather's great outside, and that's what I got for me. Kelly Reed. I'm not looking forward to Trump's parade, but will be attending his funeral. Also, thoughts about Ryan selling Canadian GameStop. Reports say Canadian division cost $10 million, then U.S. gained 33.9. I don't see where you finished your thought there, Kelly Reed. 33.9, and then that's on live chat, so I'm not missing the follow-up. 33.9 million? Gained 33.9. Kelly Reed, finish your thought! I kind of just went off on why it's silly to be selling off your foreign company, especially all right, Ryan Cohen, just numbers-wise, if we're experiencing tariffs for Chinese-made goods, meaning Xboxes, PlayStations, Nintendo Wiis, etc., physical copies of video games coming from China as well, the CD-ROMs, DVDs, whatever. If your American stores now are faced with 145% tariffs, and your Canadian stores and your European stores are not, they don't have tariffs on these things. So the Canadians will be getting PlayStations and Xboxes and Wiis and physical video games for half the price as their American counterpart stores. And you're going to sell off those Canadian stores where you'll be making guaranteed profit and have higher sales than you will at your American stores? Come on, baby. Just pull the plug on that deal, dude. That's a no-brainer. You also might be able to move inventory around and kind of skirt tariffs if that's the case. You might have Americans who live in border states, who live in Bellingham, who go to Canada to go buy their video games at this point because they'll be able to get them for a lot cheaper. You might have added market capitalization as a result of having these foreign stores. Whatever, you can do you. 4Z9, do we all at once... I misread that. Do we all have a chance for BBY and GME any kind of time frame? I don't know what the time frame would be at all. Though there is lots of talk about stuff having to be processed and done by the middle of June or end of June in order to preserve the nulls. I don't know. I don't know too much about those rules requirements. Those could just be hype date things being thrown about. It does appear that there's more cash in the estate now than what they owe the creditors. So at least there's a waterfall, right? So at least we're going to get something. As long as I get 20 cents or more back, then I made a profit off of my Bed Bath & Beyond. And I think it's going to be in the dollars, tens of dollars, or even $100 range. Maybe even more, depending on what the settlements are and what the total shares outstanding turn out to be. Also, the nulls are worth a lot. Remember this, if you're reverse merging into a company like GameStop that makes $130 million a year in profit, the $1.6 billion in nulls is more than a decade of not having to pay taxes. If the nulls are calculated to be from 2018 on, it might be upwards of $10 billion. They're looking at 77 years at the current income revenue of GameStop without having to pay taxes. 77 years. Everyone else here will be long dead by the time GameStop stops paying taxes on their profit as a result of absorbing nulls of that amount. So there is a lot of drive for someone to take on the shell of this company. So I just want them to do it sooner than later so that I can, avoid the dystopian fascist future that we're leading ourselves into, or at least have the financial means to help fight it. Right? Like, I don't know. I'll pay for full-page ads in newspapers for a general strike at that point, if I can. Fuck it. Why not? Like, that's what we need. We need 3.5% of the population to be on the streets. That's it. No regime has ever survived 3.5 or more percent of the population in the streets going, fuck this. They've not. They've caved every single solitary time. Sometimes it only takes about 1.5%, but there's a 100% track record if 3.5% of the population is on the streets marching. And I think we could do it. I think it needs to be a little nudge from folks who have got the means to nudge. But I do hope there's some buyer's remorse happening with Ryan Cohen. I know it definitely seems like Brian Peterson at Flexport has a lot of buyer's remorse for his politics. He was all Trump, and now his company is dying. Like straight up dying. He's like, we'll find out. Hey, small businesses, we help you find ways to get things from other people who don't have these tariffs. Please use us. He's watching just imports crater, absolutely crater. His warehouses are going empty because stuff isn't coming in. People aren't pulling the trigger and buying products. So his middleman, logistics company doesn't have customers at the moment. People just aren't buying things. They aren't traveling. They aren't making major purchases. Everyone's just sort of like in stasis, waiting for the other shoe to drop to figure out what type of decision to make. And here we are, just waiting. Everyone's waiting. Ted Bass, if you could vacation in Europe for a week this summer, where would you go? 1 week in Europe. I've never been to the Mediterranean in the summer, so I'd like to experience that. Greek island, Sicily, Sardinia, Malta. Go somewhere, swim in the Mediterranean, go sailing in the Mediterranean. I don't know, dive for some lobster or whatever they have down there. I don't know, fish. I'd like to do something like that. Majorca. Might be hot as hell. Things might be on fire. Who knows? But I think swimming in the water would be lovely, and I would like to do that. So that's probably where I would head for a summer vacation. Matter of fact, I've only briefly been in Europe for the summer, and that was in the Alps mostly. It was lovely. Weather was quite nice. Everything's lush and green, and then I blew up my elbow and had to come home. But I've not experienced the Mediterranean in the summer. I'd like to do that. So pick somewhere in the Mediterranean, and you'll probably have a nice time, and I will have a nice time vicariously through you. But well, sub BBY, sub No Labs. No Labs apparently 100% results on their pH test, so that's good. Not good on 10:30 p.m. stream. Let's go. Where are you at this 10:30 p.m.? It's 7 hours ahead. Europe. Lisa saw. Plummeting tourist numbers. Worry not. A revamped all-inclusive resort is taking bookings where you can be detained, dehumanized, and deported. Welcome to Alcatraz. Matthew Jackson. Question I've wondered since I was a kid. If you eat nothing but corn for a few days, will we poop out like a payday turd? Yes. Yes, it will. One time, Monkey Butt, I was on the ferry boat, and I had Monkey with me. And when you're on the ferry, you're supposed to sit up top with the dogs and not have them in the cabin with everybody else. But it was a lovely summer day, so Monkey and I sitting up there and enjoying the sunshine, then enjoying the shade, then enjoying the sunshine. And somebody, it was a little windy because the boat's going 20 knots, and they had a bag of popcorn and it just blew out of their hands and it spilled everywhere on the deck. And so Monkey's just like at the end of her leash, just eating up all his popcorn everywhere. And I was like, whatever, eating popcorn, cool. I didn't really think about it after that. She just, cleaned up the mess. Cool, good dog. A day or two later, she took a Duke in the backyard, and it looked like she was shitting phantoms. Just these like white turds were coming out. I was like, what is going on? And it was all the popcorn, just completely undigested, coming out of her. So yes. To answer your question, yes. Murphy Studios had a 6 a.m. meeting this morning, so ready for MOAS to tell all these business tech morons to shove it. 6 a.m. meeting. Oh, thank you. It's hard enough the days that I day trade to get up and be functional. Like my alarm went off this morning. I looked at the futures. I looked at what the SPY was doing, and I said, nope, not today. And I went back to bed. Why? Because the SPY was not acting according to the futures market. And to me, it's just like they're going to try to keep it as level as possible. So there's not going to be the volatility I want. And there wasn't. It went from, 562 to like 564. It went up against what the futures market was saying. And that's not enough movement for me to take a care at all to bet one way or the other. So I went back to bed. Screw being up at 6 a.m. I'm not catching a plane or skiing. I don't want to do it. BW Brand. President takes an oath to preserve, protect, defend the Constitution, yet Trump said he's unsure if he has to. Yeah. Really? Is that my responsibility? Yeah, you dumb bitch. That's your responsibility. But he doesn't care. He doesn't want to protect the Constitution because the Constitution makes it so he can't do all the weird authoritarian things he wants to do. So, Snare alert! Oh, Houston. Yawn. One shit fan. It's coming. I don't know what the trigger is going to be. So if there's no immediate trigger in the near future, we'll probably have more talks about empty ports and stuff not coming in. It'll be when the store shelves start to actually get bare, which is about 5 weeks away, 4 to 5 weeks away. That's when we'll start to see, like, you're not getting certain products in the stores. Sales are starting to drop. Amazon's charging a fortune for the last 4 of whatever these products are, right? And then you'll start to see price increases that are really, really high on certain products. And the average consumer is going to start complaining. And, analysts will start reducing expectations for earnings for different companies. And I think that's when you get hit with the big bites taken out of the S&P 500 and other indexes. So it's coming. I'm not sure if that date will be soon or if it will be in that 4 to 5 weeks from now when stuff starts to dwindle on the store shelves. And I think we're already seeing it in certain places. Remember, like, if a ship comes to Hawaii, so let's say a ship comes from China to Hawaii, right? It cannot then go on to the mainland United States. It has to go somewhere international again. So Hawaii or Alaska or Puerto Rico, generally their imports come via the mainland. So a ship, instead of coming to Hawaii and dropping stuff off, it'll come to Port of Long Beach or Seattle. They'll drop things off there. Then they'll take those and they'll put onto U.S. flagships. They'll then take them to Alaska and Hawaii or, to other American territories or states. So if we're facing shortages, you're going to see the outliers: Hawaii, Guam, Alaska, Saipan, American Samoa, Puerto Rico, Virgin Islands. You're going to see these places start to dwindle in what they have available to them before you start to see it happen on the mainland, because it's easier and cheaper to divert those goods to mainland stores and get your money out of it quicker than putting it back on a ship and waiting for another 3 weeks for it to pop up in another state or another territory. You also probably will start to see the middle of America, where there aren't large ports, start to lose out on products in the days leading up to the rest of the country facing shortages. Because why pay a trucker to ship something across the country when there's someone who wants it at a Target 6 miles away from the Port of Long Beach, right? So my guess is that you'll see the outliers get hit first, the interior get hit second, and then the rest of us facing shortages after that. That's the way the math works out in my head anyway. So keep your eyes on that. When you start to see like stuff, empty shelves in a Target in Iowa, know that that's coming for your Target if you're on one of the coasts a lot sooner. Yeah. Chris Taylor, NASDAQ chart shows a SPY glitch down to 532 right at 5 p.m. What do you think that was about? Oh, I did not see that. Num, 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 num. Load my chart. Oh, there's a glitch right there, isn't there? Look at that guy. So, I wonder if somebody had an order in. Come on. It's listed as not applicable. What does that even mean? I want to zoom in right on you. 531.93. So somebody got a screaming deal at 531.93. Here's what I think. On a keyboard, 6 is above 3, right? What do you think somebody meant to do a sell order at 561.93, posted that, somebody had a buy order just randomly sitting there waiting for a mistake like that to come along, and they scooped it up just based on somebody typing in the wrong number? That makes more sense to me. Just looking at the keyboard, that they meant to hit 56193 and they hit 53193, hit enter, went no, and it was gone by then. So, yeah. There's been crazy buys that have happened before that weird glitch that happened a few months ago, where a bunch of Fortune 500 stocks were going for pennies, and someone got the Berkshire Hathaway for, what was it, $38 a share or whatever. There have been glitches like that in the past, where folks, they looked at the keyboard, they just punched in a random low number that somebody may accidentally trigger, and it's triggered because, oops, ding dong did a ding dong thing and just cost their company millions of dollars in one foul swoop. Mistakes happen. So yeah, interesting. Huh. How about that? Where was I? That was, okay, did that one. The fat fingering one. All right, MS. Local firefighters who voted for Trump now finding funding cut for all of their training this summer, and they all disagree with how government waste is being labeled. Yeah, everything you do is government waste. Everything I do is necessary for society. But the thing is like, I remember this interview with Stephen Colbert. Stephen Colbert was interviewing Ricky Gervais. He's interviewing Ricky Gervais because Stephen Colbert is, devout Catholic, whatever, and he's asking him, like, how are you an atheist? And Ricky's like, you and I believe the same things. And she's like, what do you mean? He says, there's 3,000 religions out there, millions of gods. I don't believe in any of them. You don't believe in any of those ones either. You just believe in one of them out of the 3,000. Someone who believes that everything about government is inefficient believes that all of government is inefficient. Doesn't matter what it is. So they're going to torch everything in that government and burn it to the ground. Whereas somebody who's inside that government believes everyone else is inefficient, except for my precious Catholic religion or whatever, right? So when they find their belief absolutely torched just like everybody else's, and there's no one left to fight for them, well, that's what you got. I've seen so many TikTok videos and interviews where, these folks worked for USAID or worked for, Justice Department or worked for FDA, USDA, NIH, and they're like, well, I voted for Trump because, I want to make cuts, but I think the cuts would involve me. Dude, of course it was going to involve you. You're part of the nerd brigade. They're going to get rid of all the nerdy brain people. So, you dumbass nerd, yeah, it's going to affect you. It's going to affect you. You broke the antenna off the car. And now your dad's radio doesn't work. And you're like, oh. That's what it is. Okay. We wild. Hey, HW. Have a good show. Do some quality ranting, please, so I can enjoy them tomorrow. A few topics to choose from. Mechanics pitching, subduction zones, and Betelgeuse gone supernova already? We don't know if Betelgeuse gone supernova already. It could have, and it will be, what, 900 years until we'd know? So we won't know. It's that far away. It could have gone supernova 400 years ago. We still won't know for another 500 years. Mechanics pitching. Why do you guys don't want to hear about mechanics pitching right now? I got nothing to talk about. Throw hard. Come down on the ball. That's how you got to do it. Snap that wrist. And subduction zones. We talked enough subduction zones the last time around. Muley McWoolhead. Hello from Canada tonight, sir. Hello, Muley McWoolhead. Just Miami oath with no hand on Bible seems premeditated. I was thinking that as well. Rubizio says plot. Chris Taylor. Well, at least he's exempt tariffs on porn. Yeah, I mean, well, Viktor Orban's his buddy, right? And that's where all the great porn comes from, is Hungary. So he can't tariff Viktor Orban's superior pornography from the United States, because that's where all the good porn comes from. Faster. H. What's up with Omec's thing? It seems like every terrible idea that destroys the world but might make a couple bucks is greenlit by this, but this one just takes a nosedive. Well, the problem is that the United States signed on with an international treaty with the UN that basically makes this kind of mining illegal, because they realized how much damage it's going to do. So there's finagling right now. And it may just come down to the US just does it anyway, because they're already destroying a relationship with everybody around the world, and they've already destroying treaties and trade deals and everything else we have. So they don't really care anymore. But at the moment, the legal framework is still holding that, hey, you guys can't suck up the ocean floor and destroy the environment. So that might be where it's sitting. And 9, so they're renaming Gaza to something, to Trump land or something. Probably. Trumptopia, Trumpopolis. Kid Kitty. Everyone asks, hey, Houston, but no one asks how Houston. How I got here. See, when two parents love each other. Chris Taylor, you see the AI Trump as Pope pick? What a douche. Yeah, and it's pissed off a bunch of Catholics. I mean, Trump probably sees that and he's like, oh, I'd love to rule over 1 billion people. That'd be amazing. And that's what's going through his head. And yet he's not Catholic. He's not a man of the cloth. So that's not going to happen. But in his brain, he's like, let's figure out how to make it happen. We'll get Greenland. We'll make Greenland into a Pope land. Kadium, 41st. And yes, I counted. Justified farting. All farts are justified. What does new rule that got dropped by DTCC last week mean to us, where they can mix accounts? Oh, this is on... It's what? Broker dealers and... Crap. My brain has already put the exact rule in my head. DTCC rule... is it commingling? We'll put mixed counts, but it might be commingling. Let's get personal proposal underwrite service guide. No. Important notice sponsor customer company to do something change. Nope. Producing federal. What's the name of the stupid rule? It was for like dealers and their clearing accounts or something to be able to like mix, which I didn't understand the reasoning behind it, because it seemed like a great way to sort of cook the books, in my opinion. I can remember the stupid name of that rule change. Haven't we got the name of the rule change in there? Mixed accounts involved in report requirements, speculative trades, execute Fridays, are subject to administrative B reports. Oh, it's this one. Okay. Come on. Nope, that's February. That's not that one. That's not the one I want. Commingle? Maybe I'll try Commingle. Commingle. Someone can send me the link because Carney's proposal will change. Maybe this one. You have to say it for yourself. Adobe, why make a log in just to read my stupid freaking PDFs, man? Just yeah, I know I'm all set. Okay. Rule of fine update clearing agency framework. DCC fixed income clean international check. Come on. Any comments on rule found should be submitted to blah blah blah. Show me the rule. Okay. Yeah, take me there. Open the link. Page not found. Okay, thank you for that link, DTCC, for telling us to go to that website and then not having the rule available on your website. So that's cool. All right, take me back to that one. Hey, it's Watch Houston try to search the internet for things that he vaguely remembers from 5 days ago. Well, whatever. If I remember correctly, it seems sketchy to me. And a great way to foment graft and book fixing. Okay. Justin Height. First, what 3 words, ultra gigantic break even? What's the largest gem, diamond, etc. you found? Well, okay. So, first we'll do this. We'll go to the scene. Go to what 3 words. What 3 words. We'll click on this guy. We'll paste that there. It'll tell us to go to ultra gigantic uneven whatever, which is looks like an empty desert. If this is the Eye of Africa, I'm gonna lose my mind. It is. God damn it, you son of a bitch. Okay. Anyway, what's the largest gemstone I found? Opals. The largest one I have in my possession is about 40 pounds. The largest one I found is about the size of like a Suburban. Talking hundreds of millions of carats. I have a claim. We'll just use this here. Out in Wyoming. You know, there's Wyoming there. Up here in the corner is Yellowstone supervolcano, where when it erupts 1,000 cubic kilometers or more of ash. And it makes ash fields that absolutely encompass a huge portion of the continental United States every 600,000 to a million years. My claim in Wyoming, which is, you know, the state here, got buried under meters and meters and meters and meters and meters, 20, 30 meters of ash into an ancient lake where everything got lithified into opal. All the sediment lithified in opal, all the creatures lithified in opal, everything just got covered and baked into opal, basically. And not all the opal is precious. So there is common opal, chert, things like that in there. But there are bands of precious opal. Common opal sells for about $1 a carat. Precious opal can sell, as we've seen on this show before, for thousands of dollars a carat. If you have an opal that's the size of an SUV that's 115 million carats, and the going rate for the common opal is $1 a carat, you essentially have a $115 million rock. One of the ideas for my show I've wanted to do, and I was hoping to get, TV production company to foot the bill on this one because I don't have the money to do it, is I want to take one of these giant opals, put it on a truck, put it on a ship, helicopter, whatever, take it to the Digital Stone Project in Italy, where they do the giant limestone and marble statues. The machines have a famous artist design a cool statue out of it, make this huge, giant, semi-precious stone into a beautiful statue of some kind, and then take that sucker to like Sotheby's or Christie's auction house and sell it for $1 kajillion. And that'd be an episode or a few of Get Your Rocks Off with Houston. That's kind of what I'd like to do. But yeah, the largest opals on Earth exist on my claim in Wyoming, and they're freakish. And there's good chunks, like there's a boulder out on that claim, it's too big for me to move, and there's a seam of precious opal inside of it where the seam is that thick, probably that long. So inside of that is thousands of carats of precious opal, and I just need the big fat capital it's going to take to do something about that. Anyway, super chats. Stephanie L. In this climate, I think it's better to save or pay off debt. Oh, in this climate, I think it's better to save or pay off debt. I guess it depends on the interest rate of your debt. If it's credit card debt, yeah, pay it off. Unless you got one of those introductory 0% APRs you can sit on for a while. But if you're saving, you might have fairly high interest rates at the moment, but those are going to drop. As soon as quantitative easing kicks in again, they're going to drop interest rates, hoping to spur investment and whatnot. And your returns on your savings are going to dwindle or disappear entirely. Like right now, you can find accounts where you can get 4 to 5% returns. Money market, some savings accounts, your brokerage accounts even will give you like 4.88% and stuff. But soon that's going to drop back down to 0.25% when they cut interest rates all over again. So you're going to want to pay off that debt simply because if it's credit card debt, it could be from 10 to 30% interest. Cars these days, people are buying cars at 12 to 25% interest. While the car is depreciating like crazy. So yeah, you're going to want to pay off that debt if you can. And just maybe says sent link to your DM right now. Oh, for the who's wants it, the old thingamabobber, the DTCC rule. Thank you. Messages. That's the one. Okay. Here it is. All right. So, bam. April 16th, the rule filing amended DTC recovery wind down plan to satisfy requirements of new exchange act rule, blah, 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 which codifies definitions of recovery and orderly wind down and requires that plans for recovery and orderly wind down of a covered clearing agency such as the DTCC or just DCC identify and include certain specific elements in addition to incorporating the required elements of the plan. The rule fitting would make other confirming updates and technical revisions consistent with RWP rule, including incorporating key terms as defined in rule blah, 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 described in the rule filing. The full text of the rule filing may be found there, which if you click on it, nothing happens. E-commerce rule filing, Wait, is this the one about the commingling of accounts? Recovery wind down plan assess requirements. Okay, in the event experiences losses that exceed pre-funded resources, wind down plan, blah, 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 permit continuation of DC critical services. Is this the same one? Is that the same one, Julio? It doesn't quite read like the one in my brain I was thinking. Well, this one does talk about basically they're expecting people to get vaporized, so that could be happening. But thank you. Where was I? That was Justified Fart. That was Dustin Height. Alex Bishop, the film The Boys on My Street recently. Oh, in Canada? Fantastic. Chris Taylor, Baltimore was big on tax breaks. Like in Washington, we had, I think, a $10 million tax break. And basically what happened is whoever filmed first, so someone would race to Seattle, film something, and in a week they would eat up the entire tax break film budget for the whole state of Washington. And then no one else comes here and films after that. So you might get like some local commercials, and that's about all the filming that's going to go on. So you need something that's larger, more encompassing, and like there's been lots of articles about how every dollar of tax break for film production results in like $2 to $5 of economic activity in the region. I know a lot of folks that work in production in LA, and they say it's just dried up. There's just no one there. They're filming a couple of shows. You got like Bosch, which just ended filming. The Rookie. What else is filmed in LA right now? Monkey. Now you got Bosch, the rookie, and then a couple of like LA specific movies. But for the most part, they're just all they're productive. They're doing the game shows in like Ireland. Lots of tax breaks in Ireland for doing shows. So if that doesn't involve like going outside and pretending that the Irish countryside is, inner city, city USA, then you can do them in these big warehouses and get all sorts of crazy tax breaks for filming out there. So yeah, California specifically, like if Newsom knows what's good for him, he would do some very state specific tax breaks, tax credits for doing productions inside California and cause that's where the industry is. That's where the tools are. That's where the rental equipment people are. That's where the gaffers and the lighting and the sound and, set builders and set design and costume makers, they all live there. And now they're having to like hop on a plane, fly to Romania, do their work there, get back on a plane, fly back to LA where they go live their lives rather than just going down the street to the Universal Studios or to, Warner Brothers or whatever. So just make comparable tax cuts or have some sort of WTO thing where no one's allowed to do tax credits for anybody anywhere. And so it's all just based on a merit system or something. I don't know, but I don't think that's going to happen. Oh, I got to get going. So thank you, everybody. I will see you tomorrow. I already have an idea for Charity Tuesday for May. I think I'm going to do one of the legal pro bono legal groups for immigrants. So there's several of them out there, and see which ones are on available on YouTube. But I think that's what I'm going to do for the May Charity Tuesday. All right, everybody. I want you folks to have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow, and bye-bye. Fat cat scratch going. Oh, that's a good scratch. He's losing his mind. He's got chew on himself. It's so good.